Hello everyone, my name is Nature Angel and welcome back to my channel if you are returning, and welcome if you are new. Usually I film up in my office, but since it is almost Christmas time, I decided why not film down here in my living room where it's a little more festive. Which, before I get into today's video, let me just tell you, I will probably not put up a video, I'm thinking, for maybe 3 weeks because of the holidays, and I just want everyone to focus on spending their time with their loved ones and whatever else you guys have plans for the holiday. So I'll be back in January, just it'll probably be 3 weeks instead of 2. But let's get right on into today's video. So today's video shouldn't be that long, but it is going to be about oral listening comprehension and the assessments that you can do for those. This idea was brought through a comment that was on my previous video, so thank you so much for leaving that comment, because I did not know what to do a video on, and I was like, this is a really good idea. So you may be wondering though, what is oral language comprehension? So I want you to think about how you are understanding what I am saying right now. To understand this video, you are using your oral listening comprehension skills, because in order to know what I'm saying, you have to use those skills to understand what I'm saying, to make sense of what I'm saying. So that is what this video is going to be about. If that sounds interesting to you, then definitely keep watching, and I will go over how this is important in the schools and what we can do to assess the students and how to help them. So please keep watching. So as you can imagine, your oral listening skills is very important in general, but extra important in the school system. It is made up of many skills, including but not limited to auditory working memory, understanding word meaning, sentence structure, and implications of meaning. So what does all of that mean? Well, auditory working memory is listening and being able to hold that information to process it and understand what you just were hearing. So for example, if you're in the classroom learning and the teacher is talking, right, you are using your auditory working memory because you are holding the information as the sentence is going on, right? Like as they are constructing a sentence, your teacher, a student, whoever you're talking to, you are using your auditory working memory because you are holding what they just said to make sense of the rest of the sentence. Obviously, understanding word meaning, you have to have your vocabulary and know what those words mean. So you're not going to be able to make sense of what you're hearing if you do not know what the words mean. Sentence structure, how we are forming the sentences. A good way that I like to think of it for myself is, think of like if you're learning another language, you know how sometimes the verb is at the end, and then like for us, like usually the verb is second, and then there's filler words. Like, so basically just understanding the sentence structure and how it is put together and how you can make sense of that. And like I said, it will vary depending on the language that we speak. Implications of meaning, that can mean a bunch of things. But one important thing that I'm thinking of specifically is how you say something, the tone of it. What does that mean? What does it imply? So having that. So a good example, I'm just gonna say a simple sentence. Let's say like, you have a cat. That's the sentence, right? Depending how I say it could mean different things. You could say it excited, right? Like, you have a cat, or like a question, you have a cat. So different ways of saying it. How is it being portrayed? What does it mean? Is it sarcastic? Even like understanding a joke. That is the implication of meaning. So all of these things together, and like I said, along with some other things as well, is what makes up your oral listening comprehension. Little side note, I used to think that measuring this skill was the job of the speech pathologist, but no, we have tests to measure as well, and I'm going to get into that, and I will also tell you how important it is. Even though we are learning how important it is just in everyday life, it is very important in the school setting as well. So there are certain assessments that we can do that are only going to measure the oral language comprehension skills. And some of those that you may have heard of are like the OWLs, or the clinical evaluation of language fundamentals, the CELF, if you ever heard of that. And I believe they're on the 5th edition, but those are specifically designed to measure oral language skills. So I don't use them. I have seen other reports that have those assessments in there, but that's an option that we can use as a school psychologist in order to get a better picture of the students' oral language skills. What I use is subtests that I find in like the WIAT for the achievement, and that would be like the listening comprehension task, but also they have it in other assessments as well. So like the WJ has oral comprehension, I believe, and understanding directions. Those are both used for the oral language comprehension. And then you also have like the KTEA that has a listening comprehension and an oral expression. So a lot of the achievement subtests can measure it. Now it's not going to be full blown assessment like the OWLs, but you can still get information that is helpful and useful, and you can see if you even need to do further testing. So you're probably wondering, how is this important for us? Well, it can help answer a lot of questions. Let's say that there is a student that is in the classroom and teachers feel like they're not paying attention, they're not listening, and parents might feel like, oh, my student probably has ADHD. Well, doing a test like this can help us narrow it down, like narrow down what the issue is, and also rule out certain things. So it may appear that a student that is having difficulty with their auditory working memory, like holding the information, they might seem like they're not listening, but they are. They just are not understanding and taking in what they are listening to. And that does not mean that they have ADHD or some attention deficit if the problem is in their oral language. And then we are trying to help the student. We do not want to give them a label of having other health impairment for attention when the true problem is in their oral language listening skills. We want to focus on that, or else we would be trying to help this situation over here, which is not the problem, and we would not be seeing the amount of progress that we would expect to see compared to if we were giving them strategies and interventions and maybe even changing the curriculum towards focusing on oral language skills. So that's one thing of why it's really important to narrow it down. And like I said, even if you only do a subtest and just get a little bit of information on that, that's important, because then maybe you do need to do further testing, or you can rule that out, like, oh, that is not an issue that the child is having, which is why I really like doing the achievement testing, because it's so broad. And if you do see certain areas are lower while others are higher, if you can find another test that hones in on that, well, then you can get even more information. Yeah, but learning about what the root problem is can help you later on. So I know this video was short. I hope that was really helpful. I think that's a little like, it's not a little thing, because it is something that is in the test that you'll be doing as a school psychologist. If you are giving an achievement test, for example, there usually is the option to do something that is related to oral language comprehension. So I think this is really important to understand and really important to keep in mind, especially if you feel like we are getting so many kids that we think they might be ADHD, or everyone else thinks that they are, but they're not, and it's a problem in something else. Like, let's look at and remember to look at the bigger picture. There could be something else going on, and we don't want to just assume it's one thing. We want to get all the information that we can and rule out certain things and see what other things we can help with. So again, I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for giving me the idea to do this video. I hope that you guys all have a happy holiday and a great new year. And if you have any other video ideas in the meantime, leave that down below, because I will get to it if I can, if I have the information to be able to give it to you. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Okay, bye guys.